So the London Film Festival 2020 kicks off on the 7th of October, and today we're running through some of the highlights. Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Phil Marriott and I'm once again joined by my good friend Raj Rudolph from EQ Music to discuss movies and in particular the London Film Festival. We're both very excited about this. How you doing, Raj?
Good, how are you, Phil?
I'm good, yeah. I've just had a look through online at the bfi.org.uk website, which hosts some amazing films this year. I'm so excited about this. What are you thinking of the rundown? Your first impressions?
My first impressions are always the same first impressions I have every year that the festival program drops. It's like I always have very neutral impressions, because for me it's really hard to get a sense of what a film is like based off of one thumbnail image and a brief description, because it gives you like no idea into the cinematography. You know, if there's a director that I really like, then I'm obviously going to bookmark it. But very neutral levels of excitement, but excitement because it's the London Film Festival and it always delivers.
It's usually the dare category that I'm really excited about because, as you know, I'm a big horror fan. I like the psychological thrillers. There seems to be a lot of those this year, some really good ones. And also the actors. I usually pick up on really strong actors that are in films that I didn't know about previously, and I think there's a couple to pick out here. But we should say from the 7th to the 18th of October it's when it's going to be running, and of course it's across the UK as well because it's all online, which is really exciting. Obviously we're dealing with a pandemic, so it has to be done differently this year. It's going to be the first ever edition to be widely accessible across the UK with some screenings too, so they're still, you know, obviously putting on a lot of the cinema screenings, which is a really good thing.
I was really worried about the programming this year because obviously I missed South by Southwest Film Festival this year because everything happened last minute in March. I've seen some of the other online film festivals have very limited programming this year. So I was like, oh, I hope it doesn't affect my London Film Festival experience this year. And I have to say, like, they have a pretty impressive list of films. These things are always hard to organize, but I can imagine what it's like to shift everything online. But they did a pretty good job with Flare, I think, which was kind of last minute. So yeah, I'm impressed.
It's incredible to think that it's the 64th London Film Festival as well. I can't believe it's been running so long.
Yeah.
Great.
And I think, you know, there's not as, I think usually there's something like 100 and some different films they usually feature, and this year I think is about 60, so it's about half.
Yeah.
I think the films they got, 20 of them look pretty decent to me, so I'm really excited.
I have to say, I kind of like that, really. I mean, I know I shouldn't say it's good to like less options, but I like the fact that I'm not swimming in stuff. It's sometimes a bit overwhelming, I think, to have so much on offer.
Yeah. If we can talk tech for a minute too, I really like how they've added the put it on your Google Calendar link on the program this year, because that's what I always do every year with the listings online and the listings in the book. I take everything I want, mark it up, and then I have to like physically put it into Google Calendar, type all the names and everything, and now it's just like, oh, it does it for me. So if anything, I'm so happy. Yeah,
it can be a bit exhausting, I think. So we're going to be covering the program extensively here on this channel, so do subscribe if you haven't already. For Boys on Film, obviously we're going to be covering the movies and the shorts. We're going to be hosting watch parties on Twitter, which is really exciting during the festival, so we're encouraging you to follow us on our socials, or the links on the screen and down below too. Have you ever done a watch party on Twitter?
For Eurovision a few times, yeah.
It's really good fun, isn't it? I did one with Halloween when Halloween was screened for Halloween. Just was it Halloween last year? Must have been. Yeah, God, I can't believe that was a year ago almost.
This is, I guess, our version of talking during the movies.
So let's start with the journey category then. One pick that really leapt out for me was Bloody Nose Empty Pockets, which is directed by brothers Bill Ross and Turner Ross, all centred on a closing night at an American dive bar. You're probably more familiar with American dive bars than me, but this is tapping into the community spirit that local bars have and the real connections people make in unexpected places.
Yeah, I didn't put that on my list, but now I did notice it. But I think if you're interested in it, I'll probably watch it now too.
I just love that whole kind of what could go wrong in a dive bar. And I think it's obviously the last night of this cocktail bar too, so it sounds like it's going to be pretty riotous. Could
also,
be.
the bookings are endless. Yeah, No Man Land looked really good. I saw the trailer drop yesterday as well, which seemed very poetic, very Frances McDormand.
Love her so much.
I've kind of always wondered what it'd be like to be a nomad and be very minimalist and just go wherever your heart desires. Us both being dog lovers, I had to put Stray on my list as well.
Yeah, I put it on mine too. I hope it's not too sad though, because stray dog stories sometimes really positive, but I don't want it to be too heartfelt. I don't want it to be too sad.
You know it's going to be sad. You know it's going to pull on the heartstrings.
And it's a debut documentary as well. I always like to see really strong debuts, and this is from the perspective of the city's stray dogs in Istanbul.
Yeah. I also put on my list I Am Samuel. That looked really good. And The Reason I Jump.
Excellent. So that's the journey category. Should we move on to the dare category, which is always my favourite selection of films, just because I love horror? There's a film called The Intruder, which is directed by Natalia Mehta. It stars Erica Rivas. Do you remember her in the Wild Tales movie? She starred as the bride.
No, I didn't put that connection together. So, okay, very interesting. We should do a watch party for this one, I think.
Mogul Mowgli. Are you a fan of Riz Ahmed? Because he was brilliant in The Night Of. I don't know if you saw this crime drama miniseries, which was on a few years ago. He was just so good in that.
No, that's not on my list, but I might have to check that one out too.
This is about a rapper who is on the brink of success and he has to cope with an illness.
Oh, yeah, actually, I did read that. It did look interesting, so I need to add that to my list.
He's always brilliant. He's such a good actor.
I've had a screener for Shirley Forever.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet. Now that I saw it pop up here, I'm like, maybe I'll just wait and watch it during London Film Festival week. So
it's the Elizabeth Moss movie. I have actually seen it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything just yet because we'll cover that obviously when we're covering the festival. But it's directed by Josephine Decker. She plays Elizabeth Moss plays a horror fiction writer, and she has a newlywed couple come into her house. So she's obviously inspired by their life.
Interesting. Yeah, it's been doing quite well in the film festival circuit this year. So no surprise to see it as part of LFF this year.
Siberia, another movie in the dare category, directed by Abel Ferrara. It stars Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe I saw at the Tate a couple of years ago. It was so weird because I'd just seen Antichrist and I saw him the next day and it was like, ooh, that's a bit spooky. But he's always in really unusual films. Obviously a lot of films by the director of Dancer in the Dark, Lars von Trier. He's starred in some of his movies. He plays a man who lives out a hermit life existence in snowbound woods, so I would imagine quite atmospheric too.
I'm still trying to get over his performance in The Lighthouse.
I've still not seen that yet. I really want to see that.
Yeah, it was one of those films last year at LFF that was too much for 8 in the morning. Yeah, it's William Dafoe, so I didn't need to be sold too much on it. It's definitely on my list.
Yeah, he's always great. Are there any other movies that you fancied in that category?
New Order looked really good, so I think I'm going to check that one out.
Okay, moving on to the Create category. Something that really leapt out was the David Byrne movie, directed by Spike Lee, a front row seat for his performance, which came to the UK a couple of years back, his American Utopia show.
Interesting. That's the only film out of Create that made my list. Yeah, probably something I wouldn't go and see live, but definitely interested in seeing it as a cinematic experience. So yeah, that's on my list.
I know so many people that went to see it and they said it was one of the best things they've seen.
Really?
And when you look at the clips on YouTube, you don't really get that sense of it being like overwhelming, but I guess, yeah, you had to be there really, and hopefully the movie will put that across.
Well, if he's making fun of my fellow Americans, then I'm all in. So.
Delia Derbyshire. I'm not a Doctor Who fan. My other half is a Doctor Who fan, but I'm a big fan of electronic artists that are quite groundbreaking, and she is obviously one of those because she came up with the theme tune to Doctor Who. So this is Delia Derbyshire, The Myths and Legendary Tapes. She's a bit of a pioneer in audio exploration and psychoacoustics. Just sounds really fascinating.
Ooh, I like it.
Any more from you?
No, Create was probably the least amount of film on my category. But I've taken the week off for London Film Festival, so if I'm if I've got time to spare, I'll probably check out a few of them.
Yeah. So the love category, it features a lot of films that potentially could be at the BFI Flair Festival as well.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that too. Very dominated by LGBTQ love stories this year.
One in particular is Cicada, which is directed by Matt Pfeiffer and Kieran Mulcair. Matt Pfeiffer does actually star in this as well. It's set in New York City back in 2013 about a young bisexual man. It's really good to see bisexual characters covered in movies as well, because we've talked about this before. It's usually about gay or straight characters, and obviously we've seen a lot of trans characters coming through in movies too over the last few years, which is great to see. But bisexual people, I think, they don't really get a look in.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. It's about time they've been made the center of a few feature films. I've seen a few of them, but yeah, there hasn't been any sort of like anything close to mainstream acceptance of the representation on screen. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that one.
And it's about a young bisexual man who embarks on a new relationship, forced to face the traumas of his past, and it is a debut feature. Again, something that really interests me is, a first time on the big screen.
Amazing.
Did you pick out Supernova?
I did. It's on my list. Yep.
Colin Firth and Stanley Tucci, always two great actors, always deliver. Moving on to Relic, I've got a funny feeling that you're picking this as one to watch.
Absolutely. It's in my cult list. Absolutely.
3 generations of women plagued by a supernatural presence, a thought-provoking horror drama about dementia, again tackling the subject. I've seen people that have seen this, and they... a couple have been surprised at, them going into it thinking that it's a full-on scary horror movie. I think it deals with the scares in a different way, though. I think it's all about the psychological impact of dementia and how it affects, people that love that person that's suffering. And I don't think it's, a jump scares type of film by any means.
Yeah, it's been getting rave reviews this year on the film festival circuit. I've had a chance to see it a couple times, and I haven't been able to, so... I'm very excited to see it in this year's lineup.
Another directorial debut as well from Natalie Erica James.
Amazing.
Which is good. I love all these directors that are having such success with their first effort. It's really encouraging to see, I think, particularly for new filmmakers.
And I think London Film Festival offers a very unique experience for first-time directors, and they definitely get elated and praise that they should be getting, at least for the past couple years. The response to the first-time directors has been massive, sold-out nights. So it's a very good year for first-time directors.
Yeah, absolutely. Any more on your list? That's it from me.
I had Possessor and Rose, a love story, looked interesting to me. So yeah, I'm going to check those two out.
Very excited for the festival this year. We're going to be covering it, so do subscribe and like this video if you've enjoyed this. It's happening from the 7th to the 18th of October. Like I say, the BFI screenings online, we're going to be taking part as well on Twitter. So follow us on our Twitter account, all the details down below too. And also, if we've mentioned any films, in this preview that you're looking forward to seeing, let us know in comments. And maybe something that we've missed. There might be a film that you're up for watching.
There's the Debate Strand, which has the Mangrove, the Steve McQueen movie at the end, the closing night film. I've seen Dungarees, which is a short. It's very good, actually, so I recommend that as a short.
It's not something that I watch a lot of, to be honest, when I go to the London Film Festival. I wish I was more keen.
I do really like watching the shorts. The only thing I don't like is the way they package them up into different themes. I just want to be able to pick and choose which short I want to watch rather than watch a whole movie full of shorts. A lot of the expanded stuff as well. So there's the Gimme One short 360 film about the UK ballroom scene. That kind of looked interesting. I'm not a huge fan of VR yet, so I don't know if I want to invest money in a VR headset. But I was checking online, and there's quite a few reasonably priced ones up to very expensive ones. So usually at South by Southwest, I usually check out some of the VR stuff. Then under the family strand, there's Soul. If you're interested in catching it, probably before it goes to Disney Plus, that would most likely end up on Disney Plus. But yeah, that looked quite interesting. So.
And it'd be good to actually get there and do some coverage as well, because obviously we're going to be doing a lot online, but it's nice to support the venue in person, I think.
There's tons of venue screenings all across the UK, like way more than there usually is in London. So, yeah, definitely. I'd be up for going to a few.
Yeah, it's going to be a good festival, I think, this year. A great programme. Really impressed. First impressions are good. There's a lot of films that I do want to see. And yeah, I think probably more so than last year. Give us a quick plug for EQ Music Blog.
Yeah, EQ Music Blog is our new indie pop electronic music blog. Been running for years. We're one of the original pop music blogs. Still going strong. We usually cover 2 to 3 new artists every day. We have a monthly Spotify playlist. So yeah, if you're into your new music, come check us out.
Excellent. And I will see you soon, Raj, when we get this underway at the beginning of October, and I'm sure we're going to be doing some bits and pieces before that too in the meantime. But absolutely. Thank you for watching, everyone. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.